All right, so if you want to know where an industry is actually headed, you don't read the headlines, you look at what the smartest people are putting their money into. So we did just that. We dug into the latest Web3 batch from Y Combinator, the most exclusive startup accelerator on the planet. And what we found points to a massive, fundamental shift in how crypto products are being built.
And this, right here, this is the key to everything. This is the new playbook. The Web3 companies that are going to win are no longer building for the crypto diehards. Nope, they're building for everyone else. And the secret is to make the technology completely invisible for people who have no idea, and frankly don't care, what on-chain, the nitty-gritty blockchain mechanics, even means.
So what does that actually look like? Well, it means we're watching a huge change happen in real time. Y Combinator, they're not funding crypto as an ideology anymore. The speculative hype is gone. Instead, they're funding blockchain as simple, boring, useful infrastructure that solves real financial problems. The party's over, folks. The grown-ups are here to build the plumbing.
Now just look at the language on this slide. It tells you the whole story. A couple of years ago, you'd land on a website and get hit with a wall of jargon like decentralized non-custodial AMM protocol. I mean, what even is that? It was like a password to an exclusive club. Today, a company like Blaze just says global money, local feel. See the difference? They're not selling the tech, they're selling the feeling, the benefit.
And this isn't just a hunch. This shift is backed by some serious cash. Companies like Axiom, Nexus, and Blaze, these are startups that are less than a year old, have already pulled in over $75 million. The market is screaming that this new practical approach is the right one.
So, the big question is, how are they doing it? How are they making crypto invisible? Well, it all boils down to one core strategy, a pattern we saw over and over again. We're calling it the Great Abstraction.
The Great Abstraction is pretty simple in theory. It's the aggressive, relentless hiding of all the complicated blockchain stuff. The goal is not to teach you what L2 rollups are. The goal is to build a better payment app that just so happens to use the blockchain as invisible plumbing in the background. Think of it like the Stripification of crypto, right? You don't need to understand how global banking works to use Stripe, and you shouldn't have to understand gas fees, which are just transaction costs, to send money to a friend.
And this hiding of complexity, it goes way beyond the code. It goes right to the visual design. These new companies, they're not trying to invent some new futuristic Web3 look. That's over. What they're doing instead is way smarter. They're borrowing trust by making their products look and feel like the apps you already know, the ones you use every single day. It's a visual shortcut to credibility.
And what's really interesting is that this strategy has completely shattered the old single crypto aesthetic. It's fractured into at least 4 distinct archetypes. Each one is its own visual language, perfectly tuned for a different kind of user and a different market. Let's break them down.
First up, you've got the fintech replacer. The mission here is simple. Look, feel, and act exactly like a normal mainstream banking app. The #1 goal is to feel safe and familiar, not revolutionary.
And this is a perfect example. This is Blaze. Does this look like a crypto exchange to you? Not a chance. It looks like Venmo. It looks like Revolut. You got the lifestyle photos, the light, airy background, the friendly yellow buttons. They are literally copying the design patterns from apps that millions of people already trust, because their audience isn't crypto geeks. It's everybody.
Okay, next up, we have the total opposite approach. The Pro Tool. Here, the goal isn't to simplify things at all. It's to take an insane amount of complexity and organize it for professional users, like traders who live and breathe this stuff.
Take a look at Axiom. The interface is dark, it's dense, it's packed with data. But notice the kind of dark mode this is. This isn't the old-school cyberpunk dark from sci-fi movies. This is Bloomberg dark. It's a visual style that's designed to screen professional competence and seriousness to expert traders who expect to see a powerful, data-heavy dashboard.
Our third archetype is the new infrastructure. So these are the B2B companies, the APIs, the platforms that other developers build their own products on. For this audience, the most important message isn't cool or futuristic. It's stable and reliable.
This is Blind Pay, an API for global payments. And yeah, it looks intentionally, boring. But for an infrastructure product, boring is a feature. Boring means it's stable. The clean dashboard, the organized layout, that prominent docs link up top, it all screams reliability. This isn't a flashy app for you and me, it's a dependable tool for businesses, just like Stripe. And finally, we have the trickiest archetype of them all, the intelligent intermediary. These are products, often with AI baked in, that have to look smart enough for you to trust them, but simple enough that they don't scare you away. It is a really delicate balancing act.
Freeport is a fantastic example of this. They have to serve two different audiences at the exact same time. So, right on their homepage, you see a button that asks, "What is a wallet?" for the absolute beginner, sitting right next to Connect Wallet for people who know what they're doing. It's a clever technique that lets them guide the new folks without annoying the experienced ones.
So when you put these two side by side, the conclusion is just impossible to ignore. The idea of a single crypto look is dead. It's been completely absorbed into existing categories. Blaze isn't trying to look like Axiom. Blaze is competing with consumer fintech apps like Revolut, so it looks like one. Axiom is competing with pro tools like TradingView, so it looks like one. They're fighting in completely different arenas now.
Okay, so let's put a bow on this. What does all of this actually mean? What should you take away from this analysis? Well, it gives us a really clear set of new rules for anyone who's building or investing in this space.
So, here are the 4 new rules. First, pick a lane. You can't be a simple fintech app for beginners and also a complex pro tool. Those hybrids almost always fail because they end up pleasing nobody. Second, start small. Go look at Stripe's very first website. They solved one specific problem incredibly well before trying to take over the world. Third, you got to admit that design is becoming more robotic. It's less about some designer's creative vision and more about what the cold hard data tells you actually works. And finally, don't build on hype. These YC companies aren't just slapping a trendy chatbot on their product. They are focused on building real, fundamental, lasting utility.
And all of this brings us to the final and most crucial point. This analysis proves the fight isn't ideological anymore. It's not Web3 versus Web 2. It's about categories. The most important strategic question a founder can ask today isn't how do we use the blockchain? It's who are we competing with in the real world and how are we going to win?